everyone. I hope you had a great week. Today we are going to walk through lessons 109 to 112. So let's get started. This week you're going to need your lessons manual, the student worksheet book, the math card games manual with the game cards, the colored tiles, the centimeter cubes, either colored pencils or crayons. Those materials are not included in your Right Start math materials, the geo boards with those rubber bands, and the 4-1 ruler. This week, your child is going to work on area, be introduced to line plots, and have a review lesson. So let's get started by turning to lesson 109. For the warm-up, your child is going to do section 1 of worksheet or warm-up practice sheet 3. Now, your child can use the abacus if they need to. The second and third paragraphs of the warm-up is going to have you ask questions about measurements. Now take a look at the section called measuring. Here you're going to talk to your child about different types of things that can be measured and with what they can be measured with. Under the section called square inch, you're going to review the colored tiles, and you're going to talk about them and remind them that each side is 1 inch. So a colored tile is 1 square inch. Now, look at the section called square inch problems. In this section, your child is going to build a 3 by 4 inch rectangle. You can look at the top of the second page of the lesson to see what that's going to look like. You are also then going to have your child calculate the area, which is the space inside that rectangle. So 3 times 4, 3 tiles by 4 tiles equals 12. Or if they want to add, it would be 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, which equals 12. Basically, they're seeing how many tiles there are in the rectangle, which is going to give them that area. You are then going to ask your child what the area is for the rectangle, which is 12 square inches, written 12 in squared. You can see that on the top of the second page of the lesson to show how it's written. Read that paragraph right below that section or right above the equal area section. It says this: we write square inches with a little raised 2 after in, and do not use a period after the n. The little 2 means that we have inches in 2 different directions. So it's going the length and the width. Now, I really like how that explains that to the student, that the 2 refers to 2 different directions. And this is going to be helpful to know when they start working with volume, which uses cubes or a small little 3 to show that the volume is calculated up in 3 directions. You have the width, the length, and also the height. Now take a look at the section called equal areas. In this activity, your child will build 2 more rectangles that has an area of 12. Examples of those are on the top of the lesson, on the second page of the lesson. Now my kids tended to miss that 12 by 1 area, so they knew to do the 3 by 4, and they could do the 2 by 6, but they couldn't find that third one. So you may need to give them a little nudge in that direction. But all of those answers for the area is included on the middle of the second page of the lesson. Now take a look at the section called square centimeters. In this section, you're going to give your child the centimeter cube and ask questions about it. And you will also explain that a square centimeter cube, if you're just looking at the face of it, is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. And then you will show them how to write that 1 cm squared or 1 squared centimeter. You will then have your child complete worksheet 73, and the solutions are actually on the explanations side of the lesson. There is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game to work on that helps your child work on and learn their math facts. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 110. If your lesson manual was printed in 2015 or before, there is a correction for this lesson. So make sure that you make the necessary changes prior to teaching this lesson. Now, the first part of the warm-up of this lesson is having your child work through section 2 of warm-up practice sheet 3. The second and third paragraphs are going to have your child you're going to ask questions to your child about the difference between area and perimeter, as well as the difference between inches and centimeters. And then that fourth paragraph is going to talk about the ruler and ask questions about how to measure using the ruler. All right, well, let's take a look at the section called square units. Now here you're going to have your child use the geo board. Now this is the geo board, and you're going to have them make the smallest square possible on the geo board. And you can see that at the bottom of the first page of the lesson. Now in this section, you are also going to make several different rectangles, all of them having 4 square units. Now, when you do this, your child is going to, I'm going to put it in a different spot on the geo board, but your child is going to see that this is 1 square unit and this is 2 square units. So you see there's 2 pieces in here, and you'll see the same thing on that third example at the bottom of the first page of the lesson. Now on the top of the second page of the lesson, you're going to guide your child to build 1/2 units. Now this might be a little bit more difficult for you to see, so let me kind of walk you through that. So for this square, if I'm going to make that half, I'm going to basically consider it this way. So I'm going to take it off of one of those pegs and just kind of drop it down to make a triangle. And so now that's split in half. You're also going to do the same thing for this one. Now remember, this is 2 squares inside, right? 2 square units. So what we're going to do is we'll take it, same thing that we did over here, and we're going to reflect it over on this side. Oops, there you go. So you took 1/2 of this square and 1/2 of the square off. So you're going to guide your child to see that this now is 1/2 plus 1/2. So this has a unit or a measurement of 1 square unit. Now you're going to have your child work through problem 1 on the worksheet, and they're going to complete that using the geoboard if they need to, or they will just draw those shapes. Once they complete that problem, you're going to want to discuss their answers, especially anything that they might have gotten wrong. Now at the bottom, you're going to have your child, at the bottom of the second page of the lesson, you're going to have your child make a 2x1 rectangle as shown, which is what we did before. So that would be this rectangle here. When I say 2x1, you see 1, 2, and then by 1 in height. And then you're going to cut that in half. Now we're going to take, remember the last time we took the corners off. This time we're going to actually divide this shape in half like we just did the square. So we're going to take this off these top 2 pegs. So we've now split this rectangle into 2. So you have half of it up here and half of it down there. And then you will discuss with your child how that worked, make sure they got it, and then have them work through the rest of worksheet 74. Again, discuss their answers and any questions that they missed. You will use this worksheet in a future lesson, so make sure you keep it handy. There is not a math card game for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a math card game for your child to play to keep up those math facts pretty strong. As you notice, we're not doing a lot of arithmetic right now, so you really need to keep those math facts strong. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 111. This is a review and games day. And as always, you're only going to want to choose one of the 2 worksheets, either 75A or 75B. Review the lesson or part of the lessons for any of the problems that your child missed throughout this review worksheet. As always, I'm going to give you a list of suggested lessons to review for each of the problems in the worksheet. If your child missed problem 1, which is 1 meter minus 57 centimeters, you'll want to review lesson 106. For problem 2, which is 37 cents minus 18 cents, review lessons 97, 98, 99, and 100. For problem 3, which is $15 plus 89 cents, review lesson 99. For problem 4, which is 4 dimes plus 17 cents, review lessons 97, 98, 99, and 100. For problem 5, which is 86 plus 17, review lessons 20 and 21. For problem 6, which is 5 times 5, play some games to work on those multiples of 5. For problem 7, which is the word problem, review lesson 38. For problem 8, which is the perimeter and area problem, review lessons 37 and 38. For the rest of the problems 9 through 18, which all involve measurements, review lessons 101 or 102, 103, 104, 105, and 106. The games for this lesson are the corners game, which you've played previously, and subtraction corners game. Now we do not, or in the thousands, subtraction corners game in the thousands. We do not have a blog for this game. However, you're going to basically play it just like the regular corners game, except the scoring is different. You're going to start with a score of 4,000, and then you're going to subtract the scores as you go. Instructions are included in the lesson manual, or in the games lesson manual. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 112. Now, this is a fun lesson, or at least my family found it fun. Your child is going to be completing section 3 on the warm-up practice sheet 3 for the first part of the warm-up. The second part of the warm-up, or the second paragraph, is going to have your child compare centimeters and inches. The third paragraph is going to have your child count by tens. The next paragraph is going to have your child review fractions, and the fifth paragraph is going to have your child discuss various measurements. Now, for the activity part of this lesson, your child is going to grab a large handful or 2 handfuls of colored tiles, all different colors. And while they're doing that, you are going to draw up the chart that's shown at the bottom of the first page of the lesson that shows red, blue, green, and yellow. Then your child is going to pick up one tile at a time and then mark the color, like this would be yellow. Should they mark 1 with a tally mark in the yellow section on that graph? Once all of the tiles have been tallied, your child will then plot that information on their line plot. Now, you're going to want to do this together to help your child know how to plot these. The first step, though, is to set up the plot. So take a look at the top of the second page of the lesson, and you'll see the basis where you'll have blue, red, green, and yellow. And then they're going to put the mark tally or make little X's for each tally mark they had in that specific color. Now, I do recommend that if you have graph paper that you use it. If you do not have graph paper, you can find some online and just print it out. The reason being is it's going to help keep those plots evenly spaced. My kids tended to make small little X's and then really big X's, so it was really hard to get a good understanding of which color had more. Once the plot is set up, go ahead and record the number from the graph, the tiles that for each of those colors, and then just make little X's for each one of those colors. A sample of that plot is shown in the middle of the second page of the lesson. Then your child is going to work through worksheet 76 on their own if they can. The first problem on the worksheet is actually a very much smaller version of the activity that you completed during the lesson time. The last part of the worksheet is having your child fill in the titles of a chart using 3-letter abbreviations for the months of the year. Now, if your child does not know the 3-letter abbreviations for the months of the year, write them out, provide them for your child so they can see them and they can do that part of the chart. Once they finish completing that task, then they are to think of, or you are to think of, 15 to 20 friends and family members, and then use tallies, again, using tallies to record the months of their birthdays. And then they're going to plot that information. Now, we used pets, we used imaginary friends, we used when we got a doll or a toy because we couldn't remember all of the birth dates. So it's up to, hopefully you have better information than I did. I am not a very good birth date rememberer. But anyway, using dates of birth to set up that plot. Now, I do recommend 15 to 20 so that you have a good input onto that plot chart. Now, there is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game so that your child continues practicing on their math facts. That's it for the week. If you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We are here to help. I look forward to seeing you next week as we cover lessons 113 to 116. Have a great day, everybody.